Ladies and gentlemen, can you please be seated? We have had a 10-minute more to help you enjoy the nice catering. Please be seated, and we are going to start this opening ceremony of the 50th anniversary conference of the European Group for Public Administration. This opening ceremony featuring Baillie Norman Macleod, who is representing the Lord Provost of the city of Glasgow, and who serves as one of, in other words, the continental words, deputy mayor of this wonderful and radiant metropole. Baillie Macleod will speak first. He is serving in that important mandate since 2012, so for 13 years, elected for the Scottish National Party, and happy to represent this wonderful city here, which is extremely welcoming, and even recently awarded the title of friendliest city in the world, or among the friendliest cities in the world. And I'm sure you have already experienced that since your arrival, for the ones who arrived over the weekend. Then le patron de cette maison, Professor Sir Anton Muscatelli, who is the Principal and Vice-Chancellor of the host university here of Glasgow, will be welcoming us. He has been long life of service in this position since October 2009. Professor Muscatelli is an economist, research interests in monetary economics, especially central bank independence, our central bank independence. Political scientists like me will not start to tease about that. Fiscal policy, international finance, macroeconomics. He serves as the president of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, holds many honorary degrees from McGill and others. The CV is extremely long. Sorry for being so short about this long CV. Then we will have Professor Nicola McEwen from the University of Glasgow here, who is the director of the Centre for Public Policy, that is welcoming us. Nicola was previously Professor of Territorial Politics at Edinburgh University, where she was founder of the Centre on Constitutional Change. She completed a senior research fellowship on UK in a changing Europe, fascinating topic, all the issues of Brexit, etc., etc. And she works a lot on research that are of core interest to us, comparative territorial politics. We have a permanent study group on multi-level governance, nationalism, national identities, devolution, especially in Scotland. It makes sense, but this is an issue that is cross-border to us in Spain and other countries, mostly regionalized, or Italy, etc. Nicola is involved in also informing debate within the wider policy and political community, extensive experience in providing analysis in the media, and also for those who try to govern us, who pretend to govern us in expertise. I am also guilty of doing that sort of things, I'm afraid. Then Professor Sara Carter, I will introduce her Vice Principal and Head of the College of Social Sciences. She will be chairing a second session of this morning when President of IIAS, Srinivas, will address this assembly after this opening ceremony in a special moment. Professor Carter is Vice Principal, Head of the College of Social Sciences, Professor in Entrepreneurship, with academic work on the effects of business ownership on households and the consequences of structural inequalities in resource access on the SME sector. Her work encompasses the agriculture, rural, food and sector, the experience of women as business owners, economic well-being and entrepreneurial households. She is a member of lots of boards of important journals, and prior to her appointment here at the University of Glasgow, Professor Carter was head of the Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship and associate principal at the University of Strathclyde. So here are the people and the kind colleagues that are going to organize this session with me, your steward of the EGPA steering of the EGPA community, Jean-Michel EYMERI-DOUZANS, acting as president of EGPA for the last conference in my second term in office. So, without further ado, I will give the floor to Baillie Norman Macleod for his welcoming speech. Thank you very much, Mr. Baillie.
I'm very good at knocking over furniture, hence my retreat. Thank you for the applause. Not sure if I heard it all. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it is my huge honour, pleasure and privilege on behalf of the Lord Provost of the City of Glasgow City Council, and if I may make so bold, on behalf of all of my fellow citizens of the City of Glasgow, to extend a very, very warm welcome to you to this 50th anniversary annual conference. The European Group for Public Administration has paid Glasgow a very great compliment, having had a successful conference here 25 years ago. You have rushed back only 25 years on. Allow me to make clear, if you would like, we would like you to come back more often as you like. I have but one very important recommendation and warning to give to you. Should you find that you have lost your way in the wonderful streets of Glasgow, do not be afeared. Simply stop the nearest Glaswegian, who will have worked out by the fact that you're looking at a map or simply looking lost, that you require some assistance. And they will probably say to you something like, "Can I help? Are you lost? Where do you want to go?" Now here's the warning. That Glaswegian will not give you directions to where you want to go. They will take you by the hand, sometimes literally, sometimes metaphorically, but they will accompany you to wherever it is you want to go. They may or may not invite you to stop for a refreshment on the way, a cup of coffee or something like that. But before you have reached your destination, they will have found out your life story, your home address, and will have invited themselves for next year's summer holidays. So, be careful. That's why, as the President said, one of the international travel guides was kind enough to say, only last year I think it was, and they awarded us with a sobriquet, that we, here in Glasgow, are the friendliest city in the world. That's something to which to live up to. That's too many twos in that sentence, Norman. But we endeavour so to do. We are rightly proud of the collaboration between our civic and academic institutions here in Glasgow to achieve the very best for our citizens, and therefore it's a happy occasion for me to thank Anton and all the people of the University of Glasgow for their continuing work for the city and their cooperation in that regard with the local elected representatives in the persons of the 85 local councillors. We know that as you will have found in your own particular forms of administration in your own countries, that critical thinking, creativity, and global cooperation is vital. All those working in the field which is that which you study know that the better it can be done, the more satisfaction for yourselves as those who deliver, and the better outcomes for the people whom we all serve. The challenges we face, whether digital, environmental, or social, depend on bold thinking and shared solutions. And the European Group for Public Administration, for public administration's insights in achieving this are most welcome and valuable. Your twin themes for your conference this time of sustainability, that should be sustainable ability, but I can't read my own writing, and climate, I think, no, I definitely can't read my own writing. Anyway, it'll be on your program what your themes are. The second one of which is citizen engagement, and particularly democratic themes. For those of you more locally based, can I say that it was this city which invented in the 1960s concept of community councils, and we have nearly 100 of these local representative bodies throughout our city. The presence of so many international delegates who are here today is a testament to the enduring power of academic networks and the shared pursuit of knowledge, which transcends its borders. Let me take great joy in welcoming everyone who's here today, from wherever you came. And my Scottish colleagues will forgive me if I lay particular emphasis on those who have come from abroad, from Algeria, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, China, Croatia, Carasso, not good at pronouncing that, Czech Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Denmark, Djibouti, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, India, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Spain, Kenya, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Mexico. Have you worked out its alphabetical order yet? Mexico, Morocco, Namibia, Nepal, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, Norway, Pakistan, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Somalia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Thailand, Turkey, Uganda, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, and last but not least, the United States of America. Those of you who are based in Glasgow, let me widen it to Scotland. Join me in welcoming our friends from all over the world. The President is indicating subtly, you've had your 10 minutes, Norman. I'm nearly finished. Ladies and gentlemen, if we harness the very best from our public, private, and academic sectors, we will hope to ensure that Glasgow and all of your towns and cities and countries are well placed to seize global opportunities, to grow your economies, standing firm and continuing to believe in building positive partnerships for the future. As you engage in your discussions, presentations, and collaborations over the coming days, I hope that you also will take time to explore what Glasgow has to offer, from our world-class museums and galleries to our parks and open spaces, and cast your eyes up as you walk around at the finest Victorian architecture in the world. Thank you to the EGPA, to the University of Glasgow, to the organising committee chaired by Dr. Ian Elliott, to the Centre of Public Policy of the University. Thank you very much indeed for facilitating and bringing this conference to Glasgow. Thank you all for choosing Glasgow as the host city for this 50th anniversary, your important milestone. We are honoured, flattered, and delighted to welcome you back after 25 years away. And I hope that you all will have a terrific conference, that you will find this city indeed warm, friendly, and welcoming. And if this is your first visit to Glasgow, please let it not be your last. If you're returning, thank you for endorsing that you obviously must have had a good time before. I wish you well. Welcome to Glasgow. Have a fantastic conference. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Sir Anton, please. You are at home.
Well, President Jean-Michel, thank you very much for those kind introductory remarks. And can I also thank Baillie Norman Macleod for welcoming me to the city. Actually, it's very difficult, always difficult to follow Norman on a platform, because anything I say will always be understated. He's such a wonderful advocate, as is all of our elected representatives for the city of Glasgow. But good morning, everyone, and good morning and welcome to the University of Glasgow. As principal, it is a real pleasure to welcome you all to the university for this year's special landmark EGPA conference, marking, as we've heard, 50 years of learning, of collaboration, of impact in the field of public administration. We really are very honoured, as Norman said, to be hosting this milestone gathering, and I extend a warm welcome to the delegates from across the world that have joined us today. The University of Glasgow has, of course, a very proud and enduring tradition in public administration, research and scholarship. Over the decades, our institution has been home to some of the most influential thinkers in this field, from Bill Mackenzie to Andrew Dunsire to Christopher Hood to Barry O'Toole and many others, scholars whose work has shaped not only academic discourse, but it really has had a major impact on the practice of governance and the practice of public service. And their legacy is not simply one of academic rigor, but of civic engagement. And that legacy stretches back even further to another very well-known figure in the University of Glasgow, I would say, Adam Smith, whose tercentenary we celebrated just a year or so ago. And Smith's reflections on institutions, on justice and the public good are still very relevant today. His work reminds us that scholarship must be rooted in society, and indeed in our pursuit of knowledge must carry a strong civic mission. And that mission continues to be central to my university today. We were founded many years ago in 1451 as a medieval European university to serve the city of Glasgow and its people. And we as a university remain absolutely committed to that civic purpose, translating world-leading research into real-world impact and contributing to the social and economic success of our communities. And I appreciate I only have a short period with you, and some of you will know the university well, but many of you will not. So let me just give you a couple of examples of what we're doing in the area of economic development, but also public policy, which hopefully relates to the work that you're thinking about. One example of our civic mission in action is our Glasgow Riverside Innovation District, or GRID as we call it. And this is an ambitious tripartite partnership between the university, between ourselves and Glasgow City Council, and indeed Scottish Enterprise, which aims to transform a historically industrial area into a vibrant hub for health innovation, precision medicine, critical technologies, entrepreneurship, but at the same time tackling some of Scotland's most pressing socio-economic challenges and indeed health challenges. You might think you're in a very affluent area here in the west end of Glasgow, and we are, but actually GRID stretches across the river to some of the most socio-economically deprived areas of Scotland, and we believe it's our mission and our duty to bring what we do here in terms of research into real innovation and economic development. And we take a whole systems approach to this. We bring together innovation, our academics, entrepreneurs, industry and community, and channel investment, both from our own resources, but more importantly, leveraging resources from the private sector. We're helping to revitalize brownfield sites, forging new collaborations with public services and global companies. And GRID is helping to ensure that innovation delivers real benefits for the people of the whole of the city of Glasgow and indeed well beyond. For instance, our flagship GRID project is the creation of a new health innovation hub just on the other side of the river in Govan. It will be at the heart of precision medicine and cutting-edge life sciences to co-locate academics, industry and startups. And it's bringing around 400 jobs to what is an area that does need that economic development. I strongly believe that as a global university, we also have to be a civic university, and innovation and discovery are absolutely in our DNA. We pride ourselves on being the world-changing university. Another way we're living these values is through an initiative called Glasgow Changing Futures, which we launched last year, which is a strategic institution-wide investment to strengthen our capacity to address the most complex societal challenges. And this brings together all of our 4 colleges and all of our academic schools, bringing together disciplines, professional services, and external partners to accelerate progress where it's most needed. And we do believe that universities are uniquely placed to shape the future. For over 570 years, this university has been doing just that. And today we face interconnected global challenges, as we've just heard, climate change, resource depletion, widening health inequalities, that really do demand powerful collaborative interventions grounded in research, but across all the disciplines. So Glasgow Changing Futures is that framework that we're using to drive systemic change, both within the university, but beyond. Now, public administration and public service are absolutely essential, of course, to delivering some of that change in policy. And that's why we established the Centre for Public Policy less than 2 years ago. And the director of that centre, the inaugural director, Professor Nicola McEwen, will say a bit more about this immediately after me. But it's really central to the whole university. It's not just a centre within the College of Social Sciences. It's there to serve our commitment to public policy across the university. It involves working collaboratively with the policy community, locally, nationally, and internationally, ensuring that our academic expertise is not just accessible, it's relevant, it's responsive to the challenges facing governments and communities. And these efforts have already begun to shape policy conversations and capacity building efforts across Scotland and the UK. The Centre's work has helped to build on our close partnerships with Glasgow City Council, with the Scottish Government, with the UK Government, and these relationships represent our shared civic purpose and our contribution to evidence-based policy making. And no doubt, Nicola will say a bit more as I say. And your conference theme this year, EGPA 50 Prospects for Public Administration Across Europe, really does invite us to reflect not only on the past, but on the future. Over the last 5 decades, EGPA has provided a really important platform for dialogue between scholars, practitioners, and policymakers. You've provided a network that strengthened the discipline of public administration. And actually, it's never been more needed than now, because looking to the future, I've already mentioned the challenges that the world faces are significant: climate change, digital transformation, demographic shifts, technological change, geopolitical uncertainty. but particularly also political fragmentation and the erosion of public trust, which really makes the building of solutions difficult. And I don't need to tell you that, you are the experts. But to build solutions to these challenges in terms of public administration and public policy really requires to bring your expertise to bear on that greater complexity. And I really look forward to hearing the discussions at this conference on how you plan to address some of these really important issues. I have to say, whenever I speak about my own discipline, about economic policy, I realize just how difficult it is to translate even basic ideas around economic policy now because of those complexities that I've mentioned. So I hope it's clear to you by the examples I've touched on about the university and about the city of Glasgow that we really do believe in the importance of engaged scholarship and research impact. Your discipline, public administration, is not just an academic endeavour, it is absolutely essential to the workings of our governments and society. It demands that we ask difficult questions, that we challenge assumptions, that we work together across disciplines and across borders. And that's why we're so delighted to welcome you here in Glasgow this week to share those insights. The President mentioned whether central banks are really independent. It's just one example exactly of the complexity we now face in good policy making. So I hope we can learn together, Mr. President, delegates. I hope you will enjoy your time at the university and in the city of Glasgow, and I hope that you will enjoy being exposed to the legacy of Adam Smith and many other scholars at the university that have been at the university in the past. Thank you so much for coming.
Nicola, please.
Merci, Jean-Michel, Monsieur le Président. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, President Srinivas. On behalf of the Centre for Public Policy and the College of Social Sciences, I would like to extend our very warm welcome to you all to the University of Glasgow. Ciet mille falce, which is Scots Gaelic for 100,000 welcomes. And I hope you find 100,000 welcomes during your stay in the friendliest city in the world. I joined the University of Glasgow 2 years ago, following an invitation to create a new entity to support the university's contribution to public policy, public administration, and public life. This led to the creation of the Centre for Public Policy, your hosts for this conference. So the Centre is a relatively new entity at the University of Glasgow, but it's a reflection of the university's historic civic mission that Anton spoke about, and its commitment to public service that runs throughout our teaching, our research, and our engagement. Among our alumni, I think we count 2 Prime Ministers so far, 3 of Scotland's First Ministers in the short 25-year history of devolution, multiple Scottish and UK party leaders, and many more ministers and public servants who spent their formative years as students at the University of Glasgow, learning, debating, and taking those ideas into public service later in life. And from working with the local communities to governments nationally and internationally, we strive to ensure that our scholarship contributes not just to knowledge, which of course is really important, but to also making the world a better place. And that's the environment that the Centre for Public Policy was born into, and why I'm really proud to be part of this university and this scholarly community. The Centre for Public Policy itself is a small but mighty team of academics and professional service colleagues who many of you will have met on registering for the event. And that's the core team. We develop our own research and engagement in governance and public policy. We have a particular interest in multi-level governance, in reflecting and learning from and shaping the system of devolution and multi-level government that surrounds us. But we reach out across the university, working with and supporting colleagues in pursuit of our core mission to be a space where evidence meets practice, a place where academic insight can inform and shape public policy, and where policy practitioners can engage directly with research, ideas, and expertise. We invest in relationship building with key policy partners. We developed a suite of activities from executive education and policy schools, a practice fellowship program, a policy lab, and a policy evaluation hub. Our goal is to work collaboratively with partners to foster evidence-informed practice and to welcome partners from different sectors to the university, providing a safe space to explore and to innovate, and also to try and find consensus in what can sometimes be a very polarized policy environment. A place where academic expertise can be married with practice challenges so that we can work together in the face of the policy and governance challenges of today and the years to come. So in probably around 18 months since we were established, I think we've established ourselves as a core part of the university's ecosystem and continue to build connections with the wider policy community nationally and internationally. And we're absolutely delighted to be hosting this landmark conference. We've hosted many events since our inception, but this one is by some distance the largest. In fact, we'd only been up and running for a matter of days when Ian Elliott, my colleague who will be known to many of you, I don't know where he is in the room, came to me probably a couple of days into his role at the university to say, can we host the 50th anniversary conference of EGPA? It might bring around 800 people to the university, which was a slightly daunting prospect for a week-old centre, but Ian's enthusiasm was infectious and persuasive. And since then, and I want to congratulate Ian for all of the work that he's done, a magnificent job in leading in local... He's led the local planning and the delivery, helped massively by the energy, creativity, and commitment of our wonderful team at the Centre for Public Policy. And Ian has also worked alongside a stellar cast of academic colleagues on the local organising committee, including colleagues from the Adam Smith Business School, the School of Education, the School of Law, and the School of Social and Political Sciences. And as ever, the academic team has been ably supported by our professional services colleagues from the College Research Office and the Government Relations team here at the university. A massive, massive thank you to all of you who have helped us to prepare for the conference. Too many individuals to name individually, I would be here all morning, but a special hats off must go to Robert Davies, the College of Social Sciences Events Manager, for a tremendous effort in ensuring the smooth planning and delivery of what I'm sure will be an excellent event. So thank you, Robert. That local organisation has been helped enormously by the support that we've been given by the EGPA Steering Committee, led by Jean-Michel, and the entire team at the International Institute of Administrative Sciences. Of course, we greatly miss the presence of Fabienne Maron, who was such an important organiser of the EGPA conferences over the last 20 years, and I know that her loss will be felt very deeply by many of you, and there will be a formal tribute to Fabienne on Thursday as part of the conference. So I hope you enjoy the rich programme of panels that the organisers have put together, and that we have the opportunity to meet together in the plenary sessions and over drinks and dinner in what I promise will be absolutely splendid surroundings. I hope too that you enjoy the opportunity to explore and enjoy the city. This is a special year for Glasgow. Its 850th birthday, no less. Back then, Glasgow was a small religious township, but the granting of borough status 850 years ago gave it the right to trade, to hold markets, and marked the birth of its public administration. And today, as Scotland's largest city, it's tremendously important in the governance of Scotland, and increasingly a seat of public administration for the UK government too. The Cabinet Office, one of the the biggest departments of the UK government, has its second headquarters in the city of Glasgow. We're also very grateful to Glasgow City Council and to Glasgow Convention Bureau, which is a bureau of expertise that the city offers to those hosting conferences, for their extraordinary support for this event. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for being part of this week with us and for the work that you do to advance public administration and public policy across Europe and around the world. President Srinivas spoke of his mission for the future of the IIAS as built upon collaboration without borders, knowledge without boundaries, and governance without exclusion. That's absolutely something that we can get behind here at the University of Glasgow. We look forward to getting to know each other, to learning from you, to collaborating with you, not just this week, but in the months and the years to come. So on behalf of all of the organising committee, it is our pleasure and our privilege to welcome you here. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baillie Macleod, representing this wonderful City Council of Glasgow. Dear Professor Sir Anton Muscatelli, our host here in this wonderful university ranked among the world top 100 universities in the world. What a privilege to be your guests, Sir. Dear Professor Sara Carter, dear Nicola, representing the Centre for Public Policy, which is our institutional partner for organizing this big event in cooperation with the Glasgow Convention Bureau. Dear Ian, in the back over there, my partner, my friend, who courageously embarked with us 2 years ago in this common project without knowing quite how it would unfold. Dear Ian, who manages with a perfect Scotch blend of exceptional professionalism, constant equanimity, agile problem solving, even in moments of crisis, genuine kindness to people, and a refreshing dash of humor, the wonderful local organizing committee, whose 12 members I cannot name individually here, but some have been mentioned already. Dear President of IIAS, State Secretary Srinivas, dear colleagues from the IIAS administrative team, especially Steve Troupin in particular, who has worked so hard with me to prepare this conference hand in hand with Ian and the local organizing committee. Dear past presidents of EGPA present in this aula, my friend Geert, my friend Eduardo, my esteemed colleagues of the outgoing EGPA steering committee, whose term, like mine, comes to an end with this conference. These past 3 years together have been marked by many challenges and problems which we have faced together with a team spirit, a deep sense of duty to our community, and an intact determination to serve the common good as we understand it. And I want to naming you in alphabetical order, dear Elke Loeffler, dear Maurice Makatek, dear Francesca Manes-Rossi, dear Ines Mergel, dear Mirko Noordegraaf, dear Luisa Neto, dear Marius Proferio, dear Eckhard Schröter, dear Bram Verschuur. Dear chairs and co-chairs of our varied, so dynamic and hard-working 23 permanent study groups, plus the Francophone seminar and the PhD and Young Researchers Symposium, which was again a great success yesterday, and in many cases, dear friends. Dear delegates from all countries, all over the world and continents, Mr. Baillie has recalled it, well-known faces are but also newcomers who attend our conference for the first time, with a special welcoming to the delegations from our sister organizations across the Atlantic, ASPA from the USA and NISPACI from Central and Eastern Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, chers et chers amis francophones, la belle langue française étant la seconde langue officielle du GEAP, It is my great pleasure to welcome you all at the 50th anniversary EGPA annual conference. Welcome everybody. La bienvenue à chacune et chacun de vous. Allow me to begin by expressing the organizers' great delight of seeing so many of you gathered here today in this vast aula. Last year, conference hosted by Pantheon University in Athens. We have Greek colleagues represented here, welcomed over 550 delegates on site. It was already a sort of Olympic record in Athens, but yet 2025, we do much better in Glasgow. These figures tell you the success, and the great success certainly explicable by the great attractiveness of vibrant Glasgow and of Scotland, by the favorable timing of the conference in August, and of course the special significance of an anniversary edition. This year we celebrate the 50th anniversary of EGPA. Factually, the genesis of EGPA started before 1975, from 1968 with several European conferences hosted at Speyer Hochschule, Germany, by Fritz Morsten Marx, then followed by Heinrich Siedentopf. It is in 1974 that a group of founders composed of Arne Lehmanns, Sabino Cassese, Neville Johnson, Frederick Fernand Ridley, Kauko Siponen, Jerzy Starosiak, Klaus Hönig, and others agreed to establish the EGPA. This officially started operating a year later in 1975 as a small and vivid network of passionate researchers based in Brussels in connection with IIAS. The first EGPA conference took place in Warsaw, Poland, when it was still behind the Iron Curtain, to assert Europe's unity. Our first long-serving president was Arne Lehmanns from 1975 to 1987. Since then, the successive presidents were Sabino Cassese in the 80s, Hugo van Hassel, Jacques Ziller, Ignaz Schnellen, Werner Jan, 2001-2004, Gerd Burkhardt, 2004-2010, Wim van de Donk, 2010-2013. He cannot be join us here, but he's sorry for that. Eduardo Ongaro, present in the room, 2013-2019, and me since 2019, the Belfast Conference. I cannot evoke the names of my predecessors without honoring the cherished memory of my dear friend, our dear friend, Fabienne Marron. For over a quarter of a century, Fabienne stood faithfully beside and at the side and in front of every EGPA president since Ignaz Schnellen, offering exceptional service and unwavering dedication to our community. She was quite simply the true pillar of EGPA. Fabienne tragically and unexpectedly passed away between last Christmas and New Year while working from home alongside Jan and myself to set this very event on the right course. It is to her that I dedicate this entire conference. We will pay formal tribute to her memory tomorrow during the 50th anniversary plenary with Geert and other colleagues. But throughout this week, Fabienne is with us, in our thoughts, in our hearts, and in the spirit of everything we do or try to do. Over the past 50 years, EGPA has grown and flourished thanks to the dedication of its successive steering committee members and to the tireless commitment of the hundreds of co-chairs that have led our permanent study groups. To all of them, I extend my heartfelt gratitude and a deeply affectionate thought. Our annual conferences have become the place to be for a huge European network of world-class or young promising talents who specialize not only in administrative sciences, we don't really know what they are, in fact, but we investigate with rigor and patience the comparative study of public institutions, of public governance, of public services, from complementary standpoints and methods of various disciplines, classic ones, such as public law, administrative law, public administration stricto sensu, public management and organizational studies, public policy studies, political science, the various sorts of sociologies, history, should be more, and also new ones, of course, such as cognitive sciences, data sciences, etc. The EGPA is much more than a cross-border forum where academics present and discuss research in view of high-level scientific publications. The EGPA is an intercultural community of persons, of human beings, of citizens, those engaged in research who are driven by the quest for scientific excellence and truth. In a post-truth era, this is important. And those who serve as practitioners, driven, hopefully, by the public service ethos and service to community. Together, we are committed to a double ambition: advancing public administration as an interdisciplinary field aimed at improving the comprehension and explanation of how our societies and their problems are governed, are managed, are administered, and improving the sense and quality of public administration as a skillful professional practice in an activity that is indispensable to the democratic and effective functioning of our polities, economies, societies, however you want to consider them, and to the well-being of our fellow citizens who are also concerned. With that spirit in mind, at our recent conferences, we addressed the related topics of the role of public administration for the sustainable future of our societies. It was in Lisbon, 2022. Then steering European Union through polycrisis storms in Zagreb, 2023. Indeed, since the beginning of the present century, the EU, its member states, and the wider European continent have experienced very turbulent times, including major environmental, economic, institutional, geopolitical crises, which we faced with courage, agility, resilience. These perma-crises challenge our governments and the capacities of our public institutions to continue delivering high-quality public services through crisis and afterwards to our citizens. They must do so in a constant, adaptive manner without compromising the quality of government or the rule of law, Rechtsstaat, État de droit. Last year in Athens, the cradle of democracy, we focused on strengthening democratic governance for better public policies and services. In our turbulent times, we face severe democratic backsliding and concentration of power in many countries. In other countries, we see a strong demand for renewed democratization through more participative and even deliberative democratic systems to truly co-create public policies. In addition, we are confronted with a massive new challenge caused transnationally to the rule of law and to our fundamental rights and individual freedoms by the exponential development of big data powered by generative artificial intelligence, a topic that was discussed at our TED conference between EGPA and NISPACI last year. For the present conference, anniversary conference here in Glasgow, we have chosen the topic EGPA at 50, Prospects for Public Administration across Europe. This embracing topic will be explored from multiple perspectives at our plenary sessions, in the hundreds and more panels of our PSGs, in our dynamic French-speaking seminar, and in the other ad hoc special panels we have organized. Given the historic status of Glasgow as a transatlantic port city, we believed it makes lots of sense to host one of the special transatlantic dialogues that EGPA has developed with the American Society for Public Administration at our annual conference. We are thus very pleased to welcome our US friends for a TAD 17 in Glasgow after the successful TAD 16 at Roskilde University, Denmark, held in 2022. We also welcome our dear friends from Central and Eastern European countries in a special NISPACI EGPA panel co-organized with IIAS, and which will produce a special issue at the great journal that is IIAS. And we welcome, of course, our colleagues from Asia in panels dedicated to topics of common interest, as we did at our previous conferences, especially colleagues from Japan at a special panel. All of this promises to be a vibrant conference, enriched by the wonderful evening events our gracious hosts have prepared, featuring bagpipes and fine arts, and I'm sure we will all enjoy it very much. Dear colleagues and friends, this is the last time I address you all as EGPA President. An opening ceremony is not the right moment for a farewell speech, and I am far too young, I think, to take my final bow. We will continue to see each other here and to work together. We do not have the time here, and I certainly do not have the desire to take stock now of what my team and I have achieved over the past 6 years, of what we were prevented from doing, or of what was imposed upon us. Likewise, it would be most inelegant to impose on a captive audience a one-sided speech about the serious governance challenges that compelled my team and me in good conscience to take bold initiative and invite you to co-create something new. I will limit myself to reassert that EGPA as a human community, EGPA as a confraternal space of intercultural dialogue and mutual enrichment where we welcome differences since we know how much we can learn from them so as to better ourselves and hopefully the world. So EGPA as a we, free European academics, we share and cherish very strong beliefs concerning the nature of the political regimes that PA as a practice must serve, and in which we as free researchers, we can make PA as a science freely flourish. These are exclusively democratic regimes grounded in the rule of law, checks and balances, and decentralization. Their political administrative institutions must be led by honest policymakers and principled public servants who act not in self-interest, but in service of the people, upholding the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity among citizens. It is the model of polity that our European civilization and beyond our Western civilization has invented. Of course, as we all know in such a scholarly assembly, the long, very long walk towards the advent of democratic government has taken a considerable amount of time and energy, with cyclical alternations of progresses and regressions here and there. Unfortunately, many dark ages were marked by always reinvented forms of power confiscation, be them despotism, criminal totalitarianism, autocracy, or more modest authoritarianism, oligarchy, plutocracy, populism, etc. History tells us that period after period, in the modern as in our postmodern era, democracy is never an acquis nor a stabilized model of polity, but more of an evolving, transformative polity that must be at the same time defended, promoted, refined, deepened, and even reinvented. It is all the more so since our European polities, united in diversity within the EU or around, and widely by many other interactions and ties, are confronted to more and more global, complex, wicked policy problems, while they have to succeed the green transition, the AI and big data, epistemic and anthropologic revolution, and a few other great transformations. Our troubled times truly require that we, as both clear-sighted academics and active citizens, channel our energies and initiatives toward protecting, defending, and strengthening the democratic, legal, rational, and liberal nature of our postmodern regimes and the effective practices of governance. This is our duty toward knowledge, our duty toward academic freedom, our duty toward our students we educate, and towards the viable common future we try to shape together. Et voilà. To conclude, it is my far more modest duty and my pleasure to open with ceremony this conference for the 6th and last time. It is with great honor that I hereby officially declare open the 50th anniversary conference of the European Group for Public Administration, Glasgow 2025. C'est pour moi un très grand honneur de déclarer officiellement ouvert le congrès du cinquantenaire du groupe européen pour l'administration publique à Glasgow 2025. My EGPA team and I, we wish you all a great conference. Now I think we'll turn to Sara Carter, who will chair the session when the IIAS president wants to address you, and there are trophies there that should be offered, so please take the floor.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, President Jean-Michel, it's my very great honor to welcome the President of IIAS, Mr. Srinivas, to the University of Glasgow. Mr. Srinivas is the Secretary to the Government of India in the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and brings to the presidency an extensive and distinguished career in public administration in India and internationally. His incredible contribution to governance and policy, authoring 3 major books and over 250 papers, have been recognized in several national honors. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Srinivas for coming to the University of Glasgow and thank him for his strong and continued support of the EGPA community. Mr. Srinivas.
Distinguished President of EGPA, Professor Douzans, distinguished colleagues, Baillie Norman Macleod from the Glasgow City Council, Professor Anton Muscatelli from the University of Glasgow, Professor Nicola, the Director of the Center of Public Policy, Professor Sara Carter, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Past presidents of EGPA, Professor Geert Bouckaert, a legend himself, Professor Eduardo Angaro, the Director General of the International Institute of Administrative Sciences, and distinguished colleagues. The EGPA 50th Anniversary Conference is a legacy of excellence, commitment, dedication, determination, and vision of 50 years of leadership to propagate administrative sciences in Europe. A huge congratulations to each individual who has contributed to this magnificent journey. The successful conduct of this conference is a testament that the best manifestation of the conference theme, Prospects for Public Administration in Europe, which as a science burns bright with thousands of scholars, researchers, publications for modernizing state policies. So let me present to you briefly on my views on how the role of EGPA in a global context can be taken forward. Next slide, please. I pay my homage to late Fabienne Meron and acknowledge her immense contribution to building this great institution which has contributed so immensely to administrative sciences, not only across Europe, but across the world. My presentation is broadly divided into this: the contribution of EGPA to administrative sciences, the mandate of the International Institute of Administrative Sciences and contribution, the vision for 25 to 28 on which the Indian presidency was formulated, the next generation reforms that can be propagated through EGPA across nations of the world, and EGPA at 60. How do we view the next decade of EGPA and what are the reforms? Professor Douzans has referred to the glorious history of EGPA, which is a phenomenal organization of cultural, functional, and institutional excellence, linguistic diversity, a truly multicultural organization with conferences in August or September every year, and alongside a national identity, there's a European identity, there's also a global identity with so many countries participating in today's conference. The transatlantic dialogue, the trans-European dialogue, the Euro-MENA dialogue, and in fact, the future perspectives of European public administration have deep roots into the past that has been built. And I did have the opportunity to go at great lengths to the publication of EGPA at 40. And as we look forward into EGPA at 60, it can be an institution for tremendous excellence in public administration across the globe. A brief history of what EGPA's milestone moments: 1974, the Speyer Conference, when Professor Arnie Lemens brought together the entire public administration, scientists across Europe, then the establishment of the permanent study groups, the post-Cold War developments, thereafter the formalization of the study groups, the doctoral education and the PhD symposium being established, then the digital age which set in the 2000s, and of course, this magnificent conference under the leadership of Professor Douzans that we have set up, and 50 years of knowledge, collaboration, and impact that has been visible and helped achieve the 4 major objectives of EGPA: exchange of information, comparative public administration studies, implementation of innovative ideas, methods, techniques. It has inspired generations of young teachers, researchers, and civil servants. Even a practitioner with about 40 years of service to the nation, I was mighty impressed by the quantum of research work that this body of EGPA has produced. What we have is a priceless treasure and an institution that can contribute immensely to global public good. The EGPA has been characterized by intellectual autonomy. It also has the permanent study groups which continuously have propagated and contributed to the intellectual agenda, and academics and practitioners bringing synergy, bridging theory, and real-world applications. So a uniquely collective, close-knit unit which fostered collaboration, as also several new practices. The focus that it brought in under the tenure of Professor Guy Bucard, having ethics, integrity, public sector performance, public sector leadership, multi-level governance, strategic management, future of governance, each of these has tremendous relevance as we look forward to the next decade. The contribution with MENAPAR, the collaboration with Euro-MENA, and the North African dialogue, each of these can be taken forward to build multilateral linkages, multinational linkages, and as a firm believer in multilateralism and democracy, EGPA has and can contribute immensely to strengthening global public good. The permanent study groups, I did have an opportunity to interact with them yesterday. Each one of the 23 study groups said they had huge number of abstracts that were received some had as many as 60 abstracts, submissions, and papers which are being presented in this conference. It's not an easy role to go through 60 publications and shortlist publications that will be presented amongst these 800-odd papers that are being presented in this particular conference in 66 sessions. The accreditation in European public administration brought a level of uniformity, and there are many features of this which flowed into the IIAS itself, an institute with almost a 100-year legacy. The IIAS DRPG conference hosted at Delhi gave us an opportunity to understand the diversity and depth of comparative public administration studies, as also the reorganization of institutions as we look forward to 21st century governance models. The regional entities of IIAS have been well formulated and structured. The IASIA Latin American groups, as also the Asian group of public administration, have functioned cohesively to create a global network of intellectuals with the firepower to build new administrative reforms across the globe. The contribution over the last 9 decades, and the IIAS would be celebrating its 100th year in 2030, a momentous occasion that is coming up in about 4 years' time, and has been a global mirror for administrative theory. Publications of highest quality like the IRAS, which have taken forward and presented some of the great intellectual minds on public administration. Based on this, the Indian Presidency's vision for the IIAS was a digitally agile, publications-rich, resource-rich institution that will contribute to global good. And in pursuance of this agenda, we have taken forward, after the transition meetings, the Council of Administration passed a major resolution on the future of EGPA in terms of publications, as also in terms of streamlining and reorganization of the Secretariat to service the organizations. We have restructured the Finance Committee, as also the digitally agile one with documentation of the history of IIAS and a communication strategy that plans to reach out to every individual who's interested in administrative sciences. Documenting the history of IIAS, an institution with a 100-year legacy, is not easy. We have put together an editorial team of Professor Andrew Massey and Professor Stephen Fish, and the chapterization work on this subject is being undertaken. Numerous interactions with the IIAS entities like IASIA, EGPA, LACPA have been held, and we've tried to bring together a collective global intellectual team on administrative sciences. And how does this weave into national governments is something which I wish to share with you. We have members from many nationalities who are sitting here, and each of these areas the permanent study groups are working on: recognizing meritocracy, effective redressal of public grievances, improving service delivery, benchmarking governance, secretariat reforms, creating flatter organizations. Each one of these figures as one of the major areas that the study groups are pursuing. In fact, we in India have built one of the largest citizen redressal grievance platforms called CPGrams, rated as a state-of-the-art grievance redressal system, and the objective to bring citizens and government closer using technology across the world, from Estonia to Australia, from United States to Singapore. Everybody is going digital. How do you translate physical governance models, obsolete obsolete institutions into modern-day digitally agile institutions is one major area of reform. Recognizing meritocracy, benchmarking governance, as also the initiative for increasing efficiency in governance models through flatter organizations, digitization, delegation, desk officer systems being implemented. So modernization of the Secretariat, each of these has been part of the permanent study group studies that are being undertaken. And in the light of all this, EGPA remains a beacon of public administration in Europe. We start with a new governance model on 29th of August, when the EGPA steering committee nominations would be finalized and the next steering committee would be constituted. The EGPA remains deeply committed and dedicated for strengthening the PhD chairs, and I will outline the vision of EGPA at 60 in pursuance of our discussions yesterday in the steering committee as also with the PhD chairs. A major push to EGPA reforms, which will outline 5 priorities that will guide EGPA reforms in the years to come. The first is autonomy and knowledge dissemination. Scientific autonomy has been one of the defining marks of EGPA, and we will strive to strengthen EGPA's self-determination scientifically, administratively, and financially. A reorganization of the Secretariat as a service unit to the entities with a new executive secretary position dedicated to the EGPA and financial delegation with specific resource commitments to permanent study groups and research support. Conference reforms was a major theme that we discussed yesterday, and we will work to lower conference participation costs, making conferences accessible and inclusive. Further, the reforms will be carried out with the newly elected steering committee, ensuring that future design of conferences reflects the priorities of the community as a whole. Dedicated allocation of resources to PhD students and emerging scholars, recognizing that they are the future of the community. The outreach to the transatlantic and the trans-European dialogues and MENAPAR will be enhanced, and EGPA would consider introducing awards and other forms of recognition to major outstanding contributions for high-quality research. Today at 2 p.m., the new steering committee list of valid candidates would be announced. This would usher in a new phase of governance for EGPA, and we look forward to working closely with them. The internationalization of the European core, where EGPA has its roots in Europe but global in outlook, would be pursued. The EGPA at 60 manifesto is not a list of promises. It's a vision for the future of EGPA, a stronger, more autonomous, more inclusive, more democratic, and more internationally relevant community. With this objective in mind, let me announce that the next EGPA 2026 conference would be held in Rome, organized in close collaboration with the Sapienza University of Rome from 24th to 27th August 2026. We stand today at the most successful EGPA conference in history, thanks to the enormous hard work of the University of Glasgow, the leadership of Professor Nicola and Professor Ian, with nearly 800 participants on site. Looking ahead, the ambition can be even bolder, to gather 1,000 European and international participants at the next event. The future of EGPA will be built on its proud history and also the courage to innovate. Together, we will ensure that the EGPA remains the voice of European public administration, rooted in Europe, connected to society, and reaching out to the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Trophies and presents here. Steve, qu'est-ce qui est prévu?
EYMERI-DOUZANS, there's one for you.
For me.
Here, I'm holding one.
Ian. Where is Ian?
Here. He's not coming.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's now time to relax a little bit.
We'll have a group picture.
And a group picture.
Yes.
Right.
Please come.
So, if you can please come here, and we will try to accommodate that.